watch it on YouTube on mute while I talk to you.
It should be. I believe we are live now. I don't know. This new Rumble Studio is a
It
trip.
was there,
I see my.
YouTube on mute while I talk to you.
It should be. Yeah, no, it's live on YouTube. I just that's what you were hearing. Oh goodness. Okay, so hello folks. Sorry, we're having a little bit of trouble, I guess. Rumble Studio is a lot different than it used to be, and that's weird. Ah. And not only that, I had to take the wife out today. We're having a little bit of trouble. I was like, I don't know. The heat, I think, was kind of getting to us. But anyway, here we are. So I would like to start this out. As you can see here, our sponsor, my wife, and here's her page. She does some really neat crocheting, um, which anybody who watches the MG show, I don't think maybe she doesn't have them up yet, but yeah. So she is our sponsor, and it's Nellie's Crocheting Niche, and you can get there by going to nelliescrochetingniche.com. You can see it. You know what? I will put that in the chat. All right. So it looks like that went to, is that locals, Rumble, Twitch, and YouTube. So yeah. So if you're listening anywhere else, it's Nellie's Crocheting Niche. That's NELLYS. Crocheting Niche. NICHE.com. And yeah, just get over here and kind of check out stuff if you'd like. These are really neat. And I don't want to be giving new news, but she's actually making some things for the MG show because we're trying to sponsor them. Well, she's trying to sponsor them, and she makes these. Well, she can. I don't know some way you're gonna find out, but it's not. She's not doing that for me here. She's doing that for the MG show. So I don't want to reveal things outside of that realm because that's special to her. So, but I definitely support my wife and her business here. I mean, these guys are really cute, and she makes these balloon animal dogs. They're pretty cool. Anyway, I'd be greatly appreciative if you could just get over there and check out what she's got. So, without any further ado, the headliner here we have Jesse, aka QPhenomAnon. Jesse, would you like to say hello to the audience?
Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right.
So we have Real Iron Eagle, Lydia, and Mrs. APALAnon in the Rumble chat right now, just so you know. Jesse's, we're going through Facebook, whatever. I had to call him through that messenger because these stupid Samsung phones now, it's a USB-C, and somehow I can't hook it up to my Rodecaster Pro, so I can't just call him. Which that kind of destroys because I wanted to have some call-in shows here coming soon. I'm gonna have to figure that out. I mean, what good is a call-in show if you can't call in? So yeah,
Good stuff.
today's today's subject is appreciation. Um, and I guess what I'd like to do is just give the floor up to you, Jesse, and see what you have to say.
All right. Yeah. So you want to start with that?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I mean,
All
that's
right.
really why we're here.
so so
Like where you came from, how you got to where you are now today.
oh, all right. Well, I am a 39-year-old patriot and Christian from Rhode Island, and I've been a conservative my whole life. I just didn't know what, until 2016. I didn't know really what Democrat or conservative was, and I didn't care enough about politics, to really care. But so my mother was pardon me, I got a frog in my throat today.
You're
My
good.
mother was the one who really shaped all of this in my life. And she's the one, well, her and my father insisted on bringing me and my sister to church and getting me started young that way. But it was more than that. We were very close knit family. Um, we loved community and family, and a lot of the conservative values that are slowly leaving or rapidly leaving this country, and that's a shame. you know
I agree.
if we want to get into that sometime, I think college is the worst thing that young people can be doing, but that's another
Well,
story for another day.
yeah, well, I would have to agree with you on there. I think that it's more indoctrination, but yeah, I do agree with you.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I I found Trump by accident on YouTube when he was doing his interviews on in 2015, and he blew me away. I had never seen anything like him in politics, and it was like I was under some kind of spell or something. I was just completely enamored with the guy, and when when I saw his second debate with Hillary, that was it. I knew that not only he was going to be president, but that I was going to help him get there. And
Well,
um,
I can assume, just like what you're talking about that felt like you were under a spell. It's when you see authenticity and real truth, it's almost surreal because we're lied to on a daily basis by all of,
oh
the
yeah,
establishment. So I can relate because I was like, wow, I had dreams about this 20 years ago, man, that we were going to take our country back. I didn't know what it looked like, of course. I mean, but I woke up one morning after this dream that I had, and it was like everything was different, but nothing had really changed. I can't really describe it, I guess, but I feel like I knew
yeah.
this was coming.
The way that he just cut through all the BS and everything that
Right.
we get shoveled in our face on a daily basis, it was really something special. I mean, I shouldn't say that I was under a spell, because people might take that the wrong way, but I think that, anyone who has gone through it the same way knows what I mean by that. It wasn't like he was cast like anything occult or anything like that.
Right.
It was more like he was cutting through all that.
Well, he was saying the things that I had been saying my whole life. I mean, really, the things that my parents were saying. And it wasn't the same as like when George Bush was saying similar things or any of them. I don't know. It was fresh. to me. I mean, I agree with you, and I don't think it. I mean, I don't wouldn't want to call it a spell, but it's similar. I mean, it's like it takes you. It's like whoa, real. I want more of that. So it's that attraction, in my opinion. Spellbound is like it's something that is I don't know. It's not the same as what I experienced and what you're describing to me. It's realizing, wow, that is authenticity. Like it was real. It was like I'd been waiting for it for my whole life, and here it is. And Donald Trump, you know, the least likely person that I ever expected, but it felt so natural when he was speaking. It was like, wow, it really was you that we were waiting for.
I like to think of it like a man on a desert island who's surrounded by water but can't drink it because it's poison. And Donald Trump was the water that kind of revived my sense of doom for the country. Was
Mm,
like I felt hope for the first time in I don't know, since found out that 9/11 was basically just a movie. I mean, real people died, but
right.
that 9/11 wasn't what they said it was. And ever since then, I've always been kind of quote unquote conspiratorially minded,
Well,
but
I see, and I just think that that shows intelligence. I mean, an intelligent being is going to question things. I don't know. We have so many people that surround us that they just listen to the news and then they turn around to their friends and parrot it and believe everything that they're hearing. There's something wrong with that. There's something severely wrong with that and very dangerous. I mean, think about if you're wanting to take over people and you understand that they just believe everything that comes to them because it's CNN or MSNBC or ABC or Fox or whatever it is, because it's a newscaster, they just automatically believe it. Well, I think I would probably want to take those things over and start changing the story because they're just going to believe it.
CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Right? And they're the among the biggest liars,
Yep.
and people listen to it.
It's they do that on purpose because the way that our system works, man, people are they have so little time to do any kind of research. We're worked so, long and hard that by the end of the day, we have so little time for family and anything else that by the time it's time to hear anything about what's going on in the world, they can only spend, 15 minutes, an hour max a day, if that, learning about what's going on in the world, and that's all done by design.
I agree. I believe that
Bread and
wholeheartedly.
circus, football, beer.
All of it. Well, think about the Romans. I mean, what they had the Colosseum, and why was that? To entertain, to distract.
Yep,
It's crazy.
to distract, to keep them docile and let out their bloodlust by watching others, you know, do it so that they don't go after the perpetrators of their real misery.
Right. Right. Um. So anyway, I'd
Yeah,
like to.
long story short. Um so about maybe 11 years ago, I my mother had serious back problems growing up, and it turned out that they were genetic, and I inherited them.
mm,
And so I am disabled. I can't work, and things are incredibly tough for me, and they've been ever since. Um, and being on disability is really it's tough because until I get housing, um, which should be in the next year or so, you know, pray to God. Um, Once that happens, I'll be all right. Um, I can afford my rent and my medications and everything that I need, and hopefully still have money left over. But right now my disability barely covers my rent, and
Mm.
I can't afford to buy like toiletries and soap, and I can't even afford to do my laundry. I have to ask people for help or borrow from them all the time. And last year when the government shutdown happened and I lost my food stamps, um just having to buy my own food for the month, or October, November, December, I was about to lose my apartment. And that kind of not 100% encapsulates what I wanted to talk about appreciation, but it's a big part of it because you guys in the MG show have really stepped up, more than once to help me. And I found you guys when I was at my lowest and I was going through my divorce, and I don't know how I would have made it through such a dark time if I haven't had you guys to be there. And Q certainly was a great distraction for me, having something to focus on. But it wasn't Q that saved me, it was you guys. And I can't tell you, I mean, I spent the last several days trying to come up with to put it into words, how much I love and appreciate you guys, and I wouldn't trade you for the world, and I still couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, and it's humbling having you guys in my life, and I love you. And you guys are an actual real family to me.
Well, just wanted to read a little bit of the chat here. Um, Real Iron Eagle says, "I pray something even better happens for you, Jesse." And
I know you do, Alan, brother. I love you.
Lydia's here too.
Oh,
I
hi,
really,
Lydia.
um, just to enter a little appreciation. I mean, I see her daily, her posts on X, right? And she just says such powerful things, like, and it never, in my opinion, I just, she does it without the, the expectation of reward or praise. It's like she's just truly giving of herself. So I just wanted to share a little bit of my appreciation for Lydia. Um, you
Yeah,
know,
her daily posts when I see them in the morning, they lift me right up, and I really really appreciate everything that she does. She is just a a beacon of shining light, and she's truly irreplaceable.
I
And we
agree.
love you, Lydia.
We
Don't ever
do,
change.
right? I agree. I agree. Um, so you're in a bit of a bind. You were saying, can you tell us a
Yeah,
little bit
I've
about
been in a
that?
bind for for a number of years, and until things start to change, or I get my housing. It's been approved. I just they just need to find an apartment for me, which takes a really long time. You have to be on like a waiting list, and but yeah, sir, I've been in a bind for a while.
Yeah. Well, this show was originally, like we had scheduled it before because somebody, one very generous person came and gave a donation, and so you had, I'm just explaining for our audience. You had come to me and you asked me if we could do a show so you can come on and thank that person and everyone else that sent you prayers and all that. Um, but it's come a little bit of a to a circle, and that wasn't the reason for the original reason for this show, but um, I understand that Jesse's really struggling right now, and could really use your help and your prayers. In the description, I've got his Give, Send, Go, his Cash App, his Chime, his Venmo, and his Facebook if you want to go and say hello, and his X account if you'd like to say hello there. Um, and as you can see, I mean, we have his Give, Send, Go here. Um, he did that, put this up based upon my advice that he should. So he just threw it together, and this he has $1,000 here. He just didn't really know what to put there, So, um, I mean, I don't know. You can explain that a little bit better if you'd like, but
Mm. Well, Give Send Go is a nice fallback for people who don't use, Cash App or Venmo, which I, prefer if I do receive any help from anybody, just because there's no wait. Give Send Go, they take a small, very small portion, but the worst part about it is it takes, sometimes up to 5 days or 7 days for you to receive the money that somebody sends, which when you have nothing is almost an eternity.
right,
Um, but I didn't know how long I was going to be leaving this up for. So I just figured I would put, a round number there. Um, it's not so much that that's what I need, whereas last time I needed a specific amount so that I could pay back, my landlord and keep my apartment. As
right.
like I was just saying about losing my food stamps, I almost lost my home at the end of last year. And so yeah. If anybody can help, Cash App or Venmo would be the preferred way. But if you don't feel comfortable with those, Give Send Go is wonderful as well.
Absolutely. And I'd like to also add, if I mean, if you can't give, prayers are
Oh,
definitely.
absolutely. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, I just wanted to add that, I mean, um the Give, Send, Go app, I mean, it even has, you can send a prayer like a virtual prayer or whatever, an e-prayer, I guess. Um but yeah, prayers always. I mean, I think it's even good to, like, if you're making a donation or whatever, just to send a prayer along with it, because I think prayer goes farther than anything else. Of course, it doesn't pay the bills, but it gets us to a place where I believe that we can pay those bills and take care of ourselves. Um,
God is so good, Aaron. God actually finally answered my prayers recently by getting my friend Real Iron Eagle a job just in time before he was ready to lose his apartment as well. So the way things work out sometimes, um, it's just It's crazy. Little
Miraculous.
things, yes, the little things are are the real miracles to me. And
Well, Real Iron Eagle also said Jesse is also irreplaceable. He never let up on me getting a job. So there's some synchronicity there, some serendipity, I believe. I mean, it's interesting. I don't know. Thank you all for being here. Uh, before we get any further, but so yeah, as much as we don't want to ask when we have to, um, we have to. So if you can, I mean, please don't donate it here. uh, but we were saying, the Give Send Go Christian Patriot in Need of Help, and you have your Cash App, which is the $ QPhenomAnon. That's QPhenom Anon, ANON. And then Chime is the same name, and then Venmo is at QPhenomAnon. So anything that you could possibly give, it'd be greatly appreciated. So let's get into more of appreciation. Um, you know, I've been having a really difficult time on Facebook of having civil conversations. Like I continually find myself, instead of being appreciative and getting into just a civil conversation, it's like I feel drawn to, almost like it's like I'm besting my enemies. And these are Americans. I mean, our beliefs are different, but we're not enemies, are we? But it feels like we are. Like if you're a Democrat, you're on the other side. And it's like there are no sides in America, right? Our Constitution is written for each and every one of us individually as well as a collective. And here we are
oh, if
fighting
I could
one
just say
another.
something really quick before you continue,
Sure.
old Democrats used to be the other side of our coin, Aaron, but these are not Democrats. These are communists. And the goal of communists is to take down our Constitution and like essentially end America as it is and start something new.
Like a world
So
order.
they really, essentially are our enemies, which is very painful to think about.
Well, but I
But
see. I just don't think that
continue.
it's all of them, though, right? I mean, there's just like we said, established in the beginning, that people, they hear the news, and then they turn around and they parrot that out, and it's like just less than 1% that are really swaying and altering opinions. I mean, it brings us to what the MG show has been talking about since their beginnings. And it's what Q told us: follow the bloodlines. And it's, I mean, I don't even know where to go from here, because I'm so frustrated that I can't have a decent conversation with somebody that isn't a willing participant in the cult, yet they are literally in the cult, parroting everything that the cult says, and just supporting, sometimes monetarily, to these organizations that George Soros put out, and Act Blue and all of these activist things. I mean, how do we get how do we as a people heal from this? Because there's going to be a lot of people, when the truth really is just comes to a point where it's just indisputable, doesn't matter what you how the truth is going to come out, and people are going to be arrested. I mean, lots of things, and it already has been happening, right? I mean, we've already had arrests happen and occur, and we have Q proofs happening, occurring almost, it seems daily now. I mean, it's all the, in the beginning of the Q movement, we kept on hearing like, oh, it's happening, right? But it's like we were being manipulated by, who was it? The digital soldiers. It's just where, how do we point them out? Because it's really difficult to see the difference between a parrot and an actual operator, in many circumstances. D- Am I making sense to
Um,
you, Jesse?
I was sorry, I was just gathering my thought.
Oh, right on.
So many of them are just they've been conditioned and brainwashed to think that the right is their enemy, and it's gotten so much worse with the Trump derangement syndrome because now, they think that he's the second coming of Hitler and all this garbage. So, even Q said when the truth comes out that what did he say? 20% of them won't be able to recover
Yeah, something like that.
from this information. And even if they do see all these people get arrested, they're just gonna think that it's Trump arresting his enemies. The media, the something needs to be done about the media. We can go after one person and another one person and try to change their minds, and a lot of them have woken up, but not nearly enough to have made a difference. I mean, this isn't going to be solved overnight,
Right,
you know. And
right. Well,
I think that we need to appreciate our side a little bit more instead of infighting so much, and we need to try to heal the division that's going on in our own party before we can really do any work against the left.
yeah. Well, they know how to be loyal and tight and have unity within their ranks way more than we conservatives. Well, I see, and I don't even really consider myself a conservative. Um, I mean, when I look at all the definitions of all these things, it's like I'm a constitutionist. I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution. Um,
Yep.
and I don't see that as conservative. You know, I
I mean, I'm not like a Charlie Kirk conservative or anything like that, as much as I love the guy, but yeah, I guess I would be a constitutionalist with, you know, so like very, very heavily conservative values. Maybe that would be the better way to put it.
well, what is perhaps you can educate me here because when I think of conservative, I'm thinking conserving the Constitution, right? Like, but I don't think that that's what the how other people define it. So what is your understanding of what a conservative actually is? If you can
Um
if you can define it.
yeah, I think that it's about the word conservation, it's not keeping the status quo per se, but it's to me it's about, keeping a healthy family. It starts with the family, it
Mm,
starts at home and it branches outward into the community. To me it's about having strong families, strong community, um about loving God and keeping our Christian values and not letting that escape from us. And um it certainly isn't about, being a neocon where they're very hawkish and stuff like that, but it's about, God, country, the family, the Constitution. To, make a long story pretty simple. That's what it means to me anyway. I've never looked up the definition of a conservative, but
Right on. Yeah, I never really understood the terminology, the difference. You know, like liberal. I mean, I they're words that are kind of lost on me because it just describes so many different kinds of people that it becomes like a mush pit, you know. Well, this person is
yeah,
liberal.
well, see, they hear the word liberal and they think that it means free, and they are they can liberally, I don't know, like liberty, but that's not what it means at all.
Right.
To me, it just means that they're open to debauchery and willing to have whatever the new trend is define their politics and their values, which the more and more time goes by, the less and less values they actually have. They like to say that they're the party of acceptance, and that they're the party of,
Inclusivity and yeah.
inclusivity, and it's bullshit. They're the party of the party line, and whatever the party line becomes, that's what they support. You know, and if you're if you don't fall in that if you don't fall between those lines, then they're the opposite of inclusive. They like to call us fascists, but they're the ones who are using fascist tactics, and
Right.
it
And violence.
I don't know how they don't see it,
It's because
you know.
they're following suit of whatever leadership that they're following suit of, and just believing everything that they say and parroting everything that they say. And I'm not saying that that's 100% of, what the Democrat is. Um, but the different Democrats that aren't like that, well, many of them voted for Trump. I know a few.
Well, I think that Trump's American First agenda and everything that he says would actually be what moderate Democrats used to believe.
Right. Well, they
You
call
know,
themselves a
it's
labor party, right? Like there's these here in Minnesota, it's like the Labor Party Democrats of Minnesota or something like that. And like what what? What are you even talking about? Like labor, like everything that I see out of coming from the Democrats is communist. It's not. I mean, a democracy leads to tyranny because, and here's what I mean by that: a democracy does not care about the individual. It listens to the mob and then forces the greater mob to conform to however they believe. Right? So, like 9/11, they told us that they had to take away some of our freedoms in order to keep us safe. And people, I mean, we just got bombed. So you got people that are in fear and not utilizing reason and logic, and we get our freedoms stripped away from us. That only happens in a democracy. In a republic, which we are supposed to be, that is not possible because it's about protecting the individual liberties of each and every one of us. So even though the mob wants to take my gun away, they can't because it's guaranteed to me by my constitution. And that's the difference, and that's what makes a democracy inevitably a tyranny. Does that make sense to you?
absolutely, and I like how you put that.
I don't know how else. I mean, man, I've been trying for so long. Um, but it's really funny because when I'll be just out and about or whatever, and speaking to people, and they'll say, and they'll refer to us as a democracy, and I'll say, well, but we're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic, and they'll argue on that. And it's like, okay, well, let's bring it back to the Constitution then. Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution guarantees a Republican form of government, not a democracy. And we have all of these Democrats. I mean, why did they call themselves Democrat? Right? Because they wanted to keep England's way of a democracy, which is a tyranny, forcing you to do things that you don't want to do and shouldn't have to. It's tyranny. And it's one step closer to socialism, which is one step closer to communism. In my opinion, the American form of government, through the Constitution, making us a constitutional republic, rails against that from its origin. Why did we fight for our independence? It's because we were tired of the democracy of England dictating what we did here. Like everything in our Constitution, they laid it out in the Declaration of Independence, all the grievances they had on the crown. But people here, like we didn't forget. We were trained wrong. We were taught wrong from birth. It's every vote counts.
Yeah, we need to put civics back in schools and ensure that kids take it for at least 2 years
There should be a
before they graduate.
I agree. And there should be a copy of the Constitution in every single classroom. Every single
Yeah.
classroom. And it should be taught, even at a kindergarten level, what it is. You can make it cartoon or whatever it is. I mean, they figure out ways of teaching us, our children, about sexual organs in kindergarten. Why can't we figure out ways of teaching the Constitution in kindergarten? Like, so, people can try and make whatever argument they want, man, but we have pornographic books in our public schools.
Man, I could go down a long. I don't know if I want to get into that. I could talk about that for the rest of the show and then
Right?
nothing else. But absolutely, it's disgusting. And
It is. It
oh
is.
man,
So I mean I believe that any public building, doesn't matter what it is, a public building should have a Declaration of Independence and Constitution in the lobby. Every school, I believe, should have the same in every single classroom. The board or whatever, the board of education. I mean, don't they have to take an oath? They're elected officials. I believe they have to take an oath to the Constitution, don't they? If you know, does anybody know? I believe they do.
sorry, I just took a drink. I didn't hear the last part of what you said.
The um elected officials, like our board of education, our local boards of education, they're elected. So I would assume that they have to. I mean, I've never been elected as a board member, board of education, but I believe they have to take an oath after being elected.
I would assume so. Yes.
Right. Public schools, right? Well, that's government sponsored or whatever. They should have a constitution in every classroom. in my opinion. And like I said, they should be teaching the Constitution and what it means from kindergarten on. Because we've completely, when we have people that are walking around referring to us as a democracy, that is a clear indication of me to me that we have failed our Constitution. We've failed our people, and we've let ourselves slip into a tyranny. And that's exactly what it is. I mean, why do we have unconstitutional city ordinances here? You know what I mean? Like, how does that happen? How can you strip the rights or put so if you want to build here, right? Here in Amboy, and I've been talking to people around the nation and it's the same everywhere. Completely unconstitutional. But if you want to build on your own land, and it gets out of some parameters or whatever, if you still have to go before the board to get permission. Like here in Amboy, if it's a specific type of fence, you have to get permission if it's outside of what they dictate as a legal fence here in Amboy. And I'm like, how does that happen? How do we elect officials and allow them to create these ordinances and laws that completely are against the Constitution? The same with like traffic laws, right? Okay. Now,
I
people
don't
are
know. I think
probably
your
going to,
property should be your property,
right.
but that's just me.
And I agree. But you think of a traffic law. So you're doing 100 in a 30 and you don't hit anybody. Are you actually breaking the law constitutionally?
Well,
No,
I
you are
don't know.
not. No, you are not. You are not breaking any law until you hit somebody.
I mean, maybe technically you're not, but you're you're putting your neighbors in danger by driving recklessly in a
No,
community
I
like
get
that.
that. I get that.
If
But
you're
are
on the
you
highway, I could agree with you there, but I mean, while you're technically maybe not breaking the law by not hurting anybody, you're breaking a social contract with your neighbors is how I guess I'd put it.
see, I never signed that contract though. I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution.
Yeah, neither has
And
Jeff apparently
constitutionally,
with his lead foot.
right. Well, but think about this. If
I'm
if
kidding, Jeff. I
if that's where it creeps in and more of those laws to strip us of our rights come, right? Cuz what's supposed to regulate that so people, don't speed in a crowded area? Well, that's in the community. That's the people raising their children properly. That's up to us. But until somebody actually hits somebody else or violates somebody else's constitutional rights, they are within the law, even if they're traveling 100 miles an hour in a 30. Now, I don't think that that's advisable to do. I think that's stupid. I think it's dangerous. I think you're putting other people in danger. But think about pre crime, right? You're arresting somebody before they actually commit a constitutional violation. And it's those hard ones that they use to put those levers into us and let us say, okay, well, we agree with that because, I don't want my child to be run over. But we could also raise our children as, okay, man, well, you got to watch out because cars can kill you. And you teach them how to be safe out in the world. It's up to us to prepare our children, not to change the world to be safer for them. Does that make sense? I mean, we cannot be
right. Yeah,
tyrants.
when you put it like that, yeah, that I wasn't sure where you were going with that exactly, but yeah,
Well,
you
it's
can't
always
change.
constitutional. I'm always driving constitution and individual liberty. I always will. I mean, that's the way that I believe. That's why I took an oath. That's why I will die for it if I have to. And it's in those very difficult conversations that we allow those levers of fear to change how we feel and what we support. Well, I support and defend the Constitution. I don't support the emotions of somebody else. And until that person traveling at 100 miles an hour in a 30, they're not doing anything wrong. But like I said, I'm not saying that I think it's a good idea. I advise highly against it. I think it's stupid. I think it's reckless. I personally would never do that. And I would speak against anybody who did. Like, dude, what are you stupid? You're trying to hurt somebody? Like what you know? But I would not mandate it on them and strip them of their rights to keep me safe. It I can't stand for that. As much as people will rail against me for it, that is how the Constitution is written. It's to protect individual liberty, not to appease the mob.
Well, I don't think that it per se gives you the liberty to act recklessly to the point where you can accidentally hurt somebody, because as soon as you hurt somebody, you're inflicting on their personal liberties as well.
Right.
So there's a lot of minutia there. So,
Not really though. If
but
it's
I
black and white, we cannot arrest somebody or penalize them on a pre-crime. Does that make sense? You don't have to agree, but that's
I see
how
where
I
you're coming
interpret it.
from, but I personally don't agree with the example that you're using, but I know what you mean.
Well, that's why I use them, because it's in those disagreements where the enemy gets in and strips another one of our freedoms away. That's why I bring them up, because if we're not aware of this, we no longer. I mean, the country falls. And think about it. I mean, how did we get to this place? You know, how come we have police that can pull a gun on us and they never took an oath to the Constitution? They took an oath to serve and protect the people. That's something completely different.
Well, I did want to say a couple of things about appreciation
Yeah.
we before we go.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And um so what does appreciation really mean? It's it's more than just saying thank you. You know what I mean? It's recognizing the value in people or moments, and even the small things that a lot of times people overlook.
I agree.
And I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
No, 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 no. I said I agree.
Oh, oh. And I think it's important that everyone shows the appreciation so that people know that what they do matters, and lets people know that they are seen, and that, you know, I don't know. So that was just one thought that I had.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, there's another side of appreciation when you want to be appreciative and but you can't find a place to appreciate within that realm, right? I did have a direction that I wanted to go with those constitutional, you know, it's like how can we find a place where we can appreciate what we have? You know, how can we get to a place where we appreciate the Constitution when we can't even completely agree on it? That's a difficult place that I find myself in quite often. So I find myself not being as appreciative as maybe I should be.
I mean, I think we're all guilty of that to some extent, but I know that I appreciate it because it gives us the ability to to do so much that so many other countries don't have. And, so many of us take it for granted, but we live in the freest, greatest country in the world because of those documents.
Right.
And if you don't appreciate it, that's how you turn into a communist. And
I think I just found a way. I mean, it's appreciating the struggle. It's appreciating that so you can pass on that knowledge to yours where well we can pass on that knowledge to our children.
yeah,
I mean, I do believe that there is a way to appreciate every situation, even the ones that are horrid. And I think that if we go towards that, if we utilize some effort to try and find what to appreciate even out of tragedy, inevitably we would be a stronger people. Can you agree with that?
100%.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, do you have anything to add?
Well, I had two final thoughts.
Cool.
But I mean, just because you had said that the topic of the show was appreciation, so
Right.
I had wanted to write down a couple of things. So,
Cool.
another thing that is really important is appreciating yourself. And a lot of times that may be hard, and it's easier to find things that we appreciate about others a lot easier. But it's also not arrogant to appreciate yourself. It's important. It's the ability to recognize the progress you've made in life, to give yourself credit for the things that you've overcome, and understanding that everybody, including yourself, deserves to be loved. And I think that that's one of the most important things about appreciation that people overlook. They think that it's about thanking people, but you also
Right.
need to, like, oh, I overcame high school. I got my diploma. I overcame 30 other contestants for a job that I really wanted.
Right.
It's being able to appreciate yourself, because if you can't do that, then, you know, same thing that Jeff was saying about hate on yesterday's show. Um, you know, the more you hate yourself, the easier it is for you to hate other people.
Right.
And having hate in your heart, it's the same thing.
I agree. I agree. I don't think that a hateful heart could understand how to appreciate. They would only see the things to hate. And I think, to to really try and hit it home, what appreciation is to me is considering every perspective that you possibly can about a situation, and look for the lesson or the blessing or the story, the knowledge of that we can pass on. I think that's showing appreciation. You know, I never really understood what appreciation truly was. I always thought that it was just a form of a thank you, but a bigger one, right? But it is much bigger than that because it's not just a fleeting statement. I think showing appreciation is something that you continue on throughout your whole life. Some impact, something happens in your life and you learn from it and you change the way that you believe or you change the way that you approach things and it's in a better manner. I believe that that is giving appreciation forward.
And like you said, you can't show somebody a thank you, but you can show somebody appreciation and continue to show appreciation.
Right. I
And
agree.
it's important.
It is. It is. Do you have a
And I have a final challenge for everybody.
There we go. That's what I was going for.
Before the end of the weekend, I would like you to think of one person who's made your life a little bit better and reach out to them and tell them why you appreciate them, because you never know how words like that or a sentiment like that might change somebody's day or week and
Absolutely. And
really make them feel good.
you know what? I'd like to up that to try and reach out to two.
Got to show me up, huh, Aaron?
No. No, but
No, two is even better.
you know what I mean? Like don't just stop at one. That's really what I'm I guess trying to say. It's just the more that we can get into that mindset, the better off we are. And I take that challenge and I will do that. I will.
Awesome.
Thank you for that.
No, sure. Thank you for getting me thinking about it.
Well,
And
where we go one, we
I
go
haven't
all, right?
actually said it yet. No, where we go one, we go all, man. No one above another.
Right on. You were
Um,
saying?
I wanted to actually thank the person who anonymously donated to me from this audience last December. Um, I wish I could have thanked you personally, but you made it anonymous for a reason, and you pushed me over the finish line and helped me save my home. So I sincerely appreciate the gesture and the help. So whoever you are, thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you greatly. Absolutely.
And thank you, Aaron, for getting me on and helping me in that way yourself.
Oh, it's just,
So
of
it was a huge
course.
help, and
Thank you.
you're
Thank
a
you for
good
your
friend.
thanks. And I believe that the same as you. You've been a great friend to me, and you've been a great friend to all of our friends. Um, I appreciate you as a person and what you have to offer to, what you bring to the table. Absolutely. And everybody in the chat, Real Iron Eagle, um, Tasha D. Um, not sure that we've ever or I know who you are, but thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And my lovely wife, Miss APALAnon, and Lydia. Thank you for being here tonight. I greatly appreciate you.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Yep. I second that. So we're gonna wrap it up. We've been at this for a little over an hour, so I want to let you guys go and enjoy the rest of your evening. But thank you very much for being here, and I don't know. God bless. No more excuses. No more fear. Take care, Patriots. Have a good night.
Amen. God bless. Where we go one, we go all. And reach out to someone you love and tell them you appreciate them. Have a wonderful weekend.
Right on.